Ladies and gentlemen, we are Sauti Soul, all the way from Kenya, the 254 Nairobi.
The creative surge out of Africa, it's our first big trend to talk about, and probably the most visible to most people, because that midnight train is taking some of Africa's biggest artists like Sauti Soul from Kenya, rap artists from South Africa, just a lot of different artists are getting scouted, getting visibility, and moving out from their home markets into much bigger audiences in America and Europe. The biggest example of this, the phenomenon of all phenomenons is coming out of Nigeria, Burna Boy, who's now got a deal with Atlantic Records. So music, just a big breakout moment for music and African artists. And then on the visual side, it's the Netflix effect with some big new productions like the South African spy thriller Queen Sona.
Get out of there now.
Let's go get him.
One of my goals in doing this channel is to show you how Africa is changing, how it's moving from this old idea, this old narrative of Africa's got to be taken care of, Africa's got to be saved or rescued. That's totally being flipped right now. Africa is now beginning to influence what's going on in the rest of the world in very profound ways. And that's going to be the narrative that plays out over the next few decades, indeed the entire century. We're just starting to see signs of that. And that's what I want to show you in this video, just taking 5 of these trends that are beginning to impact the world. Now, many of you know that these have revolutionized communications in Africa. Coupled with the internet, mobile phones have spread all across Africa through every population, through every form of settlement, from big cities down to villages. It is simply a remarkable change that is powering a lot of economic growth and innovation in Africa. It was a leapfrog because it came along just the right time, so Africa didn't have to invest in a bunch of landline systems that would have been very expensive across large distances. Now, I think we're in another leapfrog moment, and that is around energy, because Africa is not really that invested in the fossil fuel energies of the 20th century, particularly coal. It has massive renewable energy potential, and that's the key word, is potential, because it's just beginning to invest in solar and in wind. Of course, there are quite a few dams in Africa, and Ethiopia has some of the largest because Ethiopia's got a lot of water. There is so much attention on the huge new dam that Ethiopia is building on the Nile River that most people aren't even aware of this dam and reservoir in southern Ethiopia, which is also hugely important to the country's green energy ambitions. But if your country does not have a lot of water resources, it might have a lot of sunshine. It might have a lot of wind, solar, and hydro. These could power Africa in the 21st century, and Africa essentially could become the green continent, the green energy power of the world. Africa should be the sun king of the world. With all the immense solar potential it has, solar could be the number one energy source for Africa, but it will take a massive amount of investment over the next 2 decades.
Place a hub next to an existing medical warehouse, and it instantly enables that warehouse to make hundreds of deliveries per day to any location within range.
The doctor sends us their order by text, by phone call, whatever's convenient.
Somebody identifies the need and then prepares the package, puts it on a drone.
Then we take that vehicle and we put it through pre-flight tests. It's launched, it flies automatically out to the clinic.
The path has been already calculated, it's in the computer.
And then they'll receive a text message saying, Zip is 2 minutes away. Please walk outside.
It drops the packet. Somebody goes and collects it.
It turns around, it flies home, and then we get it ready for the next delivery.
Now, when we're talking about drones, we're not talking about these kind of toys that are widely sold and that people who make videos use to get super cool shots flying around over vast areas. We're really talking about something much more rugged that is able to lift packages, lift cargo. Now, Rwanda is the pioneer. Rwanda is the first country in the world that has really put drones to use widely in delivering blood and also in other medical supplies. But the potential, of course, is for these drones to get much bigger and be able to lift a lot more. So what you end up with is something more like a sky truck, cargo in the air. And the other advantage, of course, sub-Saharan Africa has is not that much air traffic. So the skies will be much more open for this kind of delivery drone, as they're being called, delivery cargo drones, that are very likely to start to be deployed all over Africa, getting over terrain quickly, getting past flooded roads during the rainy season. I mean, the potential for this use and for its delivery potential and capabilities is truly astounding. Now, you got to have rules of the road, if you will, rules of the sky in order to make this work and be safe. And again, Rwanda, Uganda, and some other countries are at the forefront of really trying to get that moving. The other thing you need is train people to fly these things. And so we're beginning to see drone academies pop up. There's one in Ghana, there's one in Rwanda, and I think you're likely going to see more. And that also bodes well that you're going to create a core of people within Africa who actually can fly these things, build them, maintain them. And as I say, I think we're talking about something almost like a 21st century cargo trucking industry that's going to emerge. Africa is going to lead that. Just so often, I'm just amazed at how far behind perceptions are of what's going on, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa and those countries below the Sahara Desert. What's actually happening here, what's actually changing, what life is actually like, and what's happening versus the perceptions, which are like 20, 30 years behind. And there was good reason. I mean, in the 1970s and 1980s, Africa was, many countries in Africa, let's put it that way, there was a lot of violence, there were a lot of internal conflicts, civil wars, wars of liberation because colonialism was still kind of playing itself out. Certainly there was problems with food security, we had famines, we had a lot of disease rampant, and just a lot of social and economic upheaval, and poverty was quite high, extreme poverty, which was quite high, which today we define as living on less than $2 US a day. That has markedly come down in many countries, including, for example, Ethiopia, where some dramatic improvements are taking place. So what I'm trying to talk about in this video, and really all the videos I'm putting together, is just all the change that's happening and how it's moving out from Africa, not simply change within Africa, which a lot of people may tend to focus on. There's the push within Africa to create the world's largest free trade area, to knock down all kinds of barriers, bureaucratic paperwork, tariffs, everything that's hindering trade within Africa, which is where the huge potential lies. And what fascinates me about this Africa Free Trade Area is it's an ambitious idea. It's going to be challenging to put together. Let's be honest about it. We're talking about dozens of countries in a very large area, a lot of different businesses, industries, and services. But the idea that they're moving forward, the countries are moving forward with this, I think is very encouraging and something well worth watching. And it could create a great new model for the world on trade and on countries working together. And in this season of hope, Africa, which has endured the pandemic far better than North America, Europe, South America, Africa stands ready to welcome the world back to its natural riches, to its cultures, to its deep and powerful connection to the human story, and to help the world restart the engine of the tourism and travel business, hugely important industry, to get us moving again. Africa and the return. So those are my 5 big Africa trends to watch for. I'd love to hear what you think of that, but also what other trends you're seeing that should be on this list. So leave those in the comments below. I would really like to hear from you. And if you haven't subscribed, consider doing that. Hit the button and watch for more videos coming soon as we look at Africa and the changes it's making in the world.